All right, everyone. A few days, Representative Swalwell came out and threatened. Well, he was joking. Trust us about nuking law-abiding gun owners, about the nuclear stockpile of the U.S. being used against them. Then he came out and said, "Well, no, it's tongue-in-cheek. It's just like a joking reference. What I really mean is," and here he is, his fallback. His excuse was, "Oh, that's just hyperbolic. What I really mean is the U.S. military will come and beat you around the head and take your guns by force because you can't beat the military, haha." The typical sadistic sort of far-left thing with regards to guns. They're like, you will be forced. It's very rapey, as I pointed out. It's very much, there's some psychological trauma there, and they don't seem to realize that they allude to violence constantly, or allude to the use of force constantly. They're attempting to cast gun owners as ignorant and violent people, generally speaking. Or at least people have more guns than they want them to have, as though it's any of their goddamn business. But then they make comments like this and say, well, the U.S. military will come in and take it by force. You can't win, so just give up. Disarm yourselves, peasant slaves. And it's very, very funny to see how they have a fixation with other people being powerless. Like, they want other people to feel, I guess, like them. Literally, psychologically lacking force. Because they're the kind of people who, like, pee their pants at a scary movie. And they don't have any game, really. They just can't do anything. But Swalwell decided it was a great idea the other day to weigh in again on this. Now, the proper response is to say, I'm sorry that this came off the wrong way. It was a joke, and then get over it. And then you don't address it again. If you intend to apologize for such a thing, Jack Dorsey learning this the hard way, as the last video talks about. If you're going to apologize and not stand your ground and say, no, I don't take back what I said, oh, fuck you. Then you can delve into it again and you can basically laugh at the people and antagonize them if they don't like you. Wouldn't be a good idea in this instance, but you can. If you back down and say, well, yeah, I'm sorry about the way that came off, don't put yourself back into it. Don't wade back into your own pool of diarrhea. That's such a bad strategic mistake. And he gets ratioed again, and now he's a meme again. Because now people are talking again about his original comment, and then he brings up Snopes. How did he pack so much shit into one fucking tweet? At least one thing is true. His grandchildren will still be asking him about the time that he made the perfectly worst tweet that was ever made in the history of the fucking platform. That got laughed at and ratioed and made him a living prodigy of self-deprecating humor. That's an accomplishment to Mr. Swalwell. So we'll give you that one. He weighs back in. Not only does he do that, he involves Snopes. Oh, well, Snopes debunked the fact that I said that I was going to use nukes on the American gun-owning populace, but that's not what they did. They basically beat around the bush and give it a mixed rating. Yeah, he alluded to that, but he claims it was a joke. Okay, well then that's what Swalwell is saying. That's not a debunking of the concept. By the way, I'll say this, in regards to his initial tweet at least. No, I don't believe that he's actually ignorant enough to think it's a good idea to deploy nuclear weapons against gun owners. What I think, though, is that he's alluding to the use of deadly force against gun owners if they were to resist an unconstitutional attempt at disarmament. Which is just as bad. People need to focus on it. Don't bother focusing on the initial tweet. Just mock that as being stupid. It shows that he's got no judgment with regards to his public relations. His PR team definitely needs to give him a little bit of a 2-day primer or something. No, that's what he needs. But his follow-up was just as bad. His follow-up still alludes to the use of unlawful force against constitutional, law-abiding gun owners for resisting a dictatorial tyranny. At a time, by the way, when the Democratic Party has rambled nonstop for 2 years about how the executive branch is run by the spawn of Adolf Hitler. So yeah, hashtag resist, take to the streets, the people must rise up and do X, Y, and Z. Oh, but they should be disarmed so they can get, mowed down while doing it. You're fucking crazy, and you shouldn't be in the U.S. House of Representatives if you have that much of a lack of knowledge. Especially if you don't understand what a militia is. You don't understand the spirit of the Constitution. You don't understand anything. You obviously haven't kept up to date. Like the last gun control decision you probably are aware of is Crookshank. You probably still... I've had people, when I talk to them about gun control, bring that up as though it wasn't completely countermanded by the more recent SCOTUS decisions in the last couple of decades. They still think that a Jim Crow-era declaration by the SCOTUS, then the Second Amendment only protects organized militias in the military, they still think it's in effect. It's been completely outweighed and outmatched by modern declarations from the judicial system. But yeah, keep talking about that Jim Crow Southern Democrat Klan tradition of taking guns away from private citizens. Yes, wonderful time, and it would have been great if people had ignored the decision at the time and said, fuck it. Now I'm going to sell guns to who I want. I'm going to manufacture guns and spread it around. Yeah, black people should be armed, so we need more armaments in everyone's hands. Being armed is great. Guns are pretty fun. You know, have you ever even fired one? I bet Swalwell hasn't. You know, most of these people haven't. Our legislation, and the left gets it, like they'll say, well, reproductive rights shouldn't be decided by a group of males. They can't get pregnant. Okay, well, on the same token, should gun rights be decided by a bunch of disarmed slaves? Who were usually raised in urban areas, often with silver spoons in their mouths, or they became rich at a young age. You don't exactly go to the gun range. These are the people that think that the NRA represents like Adam Lanza and crazy shit like that. You have no idea what you're talking about. And for you to make a joke about deploying nuclear weapons, that's not a tongue-in-cheek joking reference outside of the realm of fiction like Fallout. Fallout jokes about, hey, this person pressed the little red button just as a joke, created ghouls, and it was funny. And then he locked them in a room dressed as clowns and shit. Okay, that's he flooded the clown car with radiation to make funny ghouls. Okay, that's fine if you're in the Fallout universe. This is not the Fallout universe. This is real life. Nuclear weapons have taken plenty of lives and brought this world to the brink of destruction, and you are, in a joking manner, invoking them and pretending like it has some relevance to the gun control debate. That shows a lack of judgment, or at least very, very poor humor. But instead of apologizing, he just walks it back by saying, well, it's a joke. Get over it. Get over yourselves. Snopes says I wasn't being serious. That's the same claim you're making. All they're doing is declaring that the fact that you are claiming that it was a joke kind of exonerates you of the serious charge of actually fomenting the use of weapons of mass destruction against the population. Obviously, you don't know anything about the issue. You shouldn't be in Congress if you're that dumb. Look, we're in an age. We've got a lot of people in the Senate, House, the president's, 70, 71. We're talking about the fact that we've got a bunch of people who are out of touch in our government. And yet here, Swalwell, he's not one of the older members. I think he's in his 60 or something, or 55 or something. He's kind of youngish, I guess, by congressional standards. But, and you say this weird shit, it's just so out of touch. We're having a national debate over whether people who are obviously not quite with it should even be in government. Here's someone who I argue is completely not quite with it. Yes, I think it's more than a little bit troubling that somebody who's in Congress would make such a reference. Now, of course, he's not in the executive branch. He's not in control of our nuclear stockpile. What a wonderful thing that is, by the way. Thank goodness he doesn't get near the little red button. Make sure you keep him away from sharp objects and shoelaces too. He might do something violent. Meanwhile, he'll say, well, these gun owners causing violence around the world, but, the military will come in and kill millions of people to take their guns. It'll be worth it for the greater good. That sounds like some commie bullshit to me. That sounds like something Stalin would say. Oh, we got to make sure that no bourgeois dissidents have firearms. We're coming for them. Oh, shit, you were trying to hide the shotgun in a hay bale. Well, now we're going to shotgun all of you one by one. Kill your whole fucking family to warn you off that, and then throw you in the salt mine. A little bit of re-education for the next 5 years. For the motherland. That's what Swalwell sounds like. And then he's too dumb to realize he shouldn't bring the issue back up again. What an idiot. That's about all. Peace out.